Hey, this is Chris with BeerTownAustin, Austin Beer Guide. I'm here out at Twisted X Brewery in Cedar Park. Jim Sampson, Shane Bordeau. We're drinking some beers. Welcome to another episode of Over a Pint. Cheers.
Cheers. Glad you're here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, this is good. Tell me, what are we drinking here? This is the...
That is Senor Viejo.
Okay.
That is an Imperial Schwartz beer that's been aged in tequila barrels.
Yummy.
Yeah, we took a Schwartz beer, bumped it up a little bit, and we've been working with Republic Tequila in Austin and getting some of their tequila barrels and doing some aging of our beer in their tequila barrels to give it a little of that tequila sweetness on the back end of it.
Have a local swing too.
Yeah. You definitely get some of the vanilla from the oak, and then...
You saw a lot of companies out there doing a little bit of barrel aging, using mostly bourbon barrels. So with the whole Tex-Mex beer format, we thought tequila may be a little better angle for us. So we kind of made it happen. So I think of this as kind of our little baby, and it turned out well.
Yeah, I like it. So is that... Did I get a worm in my glass, or is that optional?
No.
We might go out and find you one. It's been raining. There's probably worms
We're
around.
not trying to do any novelty beers, none at all. I think we worked pretty hard on the recipe on this one. Aged it for almost a month in the barrel. So the process is pretty cool. They take Jack Daniel's barrels, and the tequila company uses that to age their white plata tequila in. After 8 months, it comes a reposado. 20 months, it's an añejo. And we take the barrel after they're done with it and then age our black lager in that. So I've seen a little wear and tear over the time, but I think it creates the oaky vanilla background from the bourbon, but also this little bit of a sweeter backflow. It kind of complements the light flavor of the black lager comparatively to a heavier ale or something, which we still love, but I think this beer is a little bit unique, and kind of called it Senor Viejo because it's the old one. Really, it took a little bit of time in creating this one. So
Yeah, it's good. I feel like a jackass for that worm comment, by the way. So what are you guys drinking?
I am drinking Siesta. This is a Prickly Pear Lager.
new beer.
So this is basically our premium lager that we take prickly pears that we've gone out into the fields here in Texas and picked with our own hands and put into the fermentation, so we end up with
He's got thorns to prove it.
yeah, exactly, a little pink color lager with some cactus flavor to it. So yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's very refreshing. It's a good effervescent summer type beer.
Okay. And this one is this coming out soon, yeah?
Yeah, we've actually got some in one of these fermenters here, and during Austin Beer Week, we're actually going to have a couple Siesta tastings. So yes, you'll be able to taste this a couple times here end of October.
Oh, all right, great, yeah. And Shane, what do you have?
This is Fuego. So this is our jalapeno pilsner. So this is one of those ideas we came up with that really kind of built the foundation around Tex-Mex beer. We wanted to come out. Story behind this one is we went to GABF, Great American Beer Festival, last year as spectators. This year as a brewery, which was fun. But basically, we went around and tasted all the chili beers on the market, and a lot of them kind of blew your mouth out. Really had a really heavy flavor. We wanted to go the opposite route, right? We wanted to create a beer that you could actually taste beer, but then have a light jalapeno back flavor on. The worst thing you can do from a brewery perspective is build a beer that someone wants only one pint of, right? So basically, we have a little light warmth on the backside, so it's going to go really good with a lot of the Tex-Mex, the Mexican style food market. And kind of coming from being cooks ourselves, and really doing a lot of the cooking around the house from years past, this beer is easy to kind of work with from a food pairing perspective as well. But yeah, definitely give it a try. A little bit higher hop content, a little bit higher alcohol content to handle some of the flavor of the jalapeno, but not overpowering at all.
Oh yeah. This is definitely a well-balanced beer. You're right, I have had more than one of those tonight. It does a trick. So I guess you kind of got into this a little bit, but tell me a little bit about the Tex-Mex beer concept and kind of where that came from, and really where you're going with that, what that really means.
Sure. Shane and I, he talked about being cooks. Originally, we were talking about doing a Mexican restaurant and having a brew pub. doing a Mexican style brew pub, making Mexican lagers served with enchiladas and Mexican style
Still a
food.
good idea, by the way.
It is a very good idea, by the way. And so as we started investigating how do we do that in Texas and figuring out the laws of TABC and what we can and can't do, we realized if we were going to do a brew pub, we had to only serve and sell our beer on site. We couldn't distribute it anywhere. And so if we wanted to have multiple locations, we'd have to own multiple restaurants, multiple brew pubs. We decided we didn't really like that idea. We wanted to make beer and sell it to the market. So we changed our mind and went, let's do a brewery. Let's make beer and sell it to other locations. And so we took the same concept, make those Mexican-style beers, Mexican-style lagers, throw a Texas twist on it, put prickly pears in it, do some things locally, and sell that to the market. So we took it from a brew pub into a production brewery. One of these days, maybe the legislatures will change the laws and allow us to do both. But wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But until then, production brewery instead, and we'll take the beer to the market. But that's kind of where the idea came from. Wanted to do a brew pub. We both still would love to do a brew pub at some point in the world. But right now, we're going to try and take these beers out to the market instead.
Okay. So what does Tex-Mex beer mean?
Yeah, I think we came out on the market wanting to create a slightly different craft beer market. So we saw, there's a huge import from Mexico of Mexican-style beers. They're $6.9 billion worth of beer being brought into the U.S. We thought, okay, let's take a more full-flavored beer, take Mexican lager yeast, take a little bit different recipe profile, stick to the craft brewery guidelines, but create a beer concept that maybe will be something that can gain some loyalty from the Texas crowd or even the southwest corridor of the U.S. And so we came out with a craft beer concept, and Jim and I just kind of created as we went different recipe profiles that we worked on over the last 2 years, really. It's taken us that long to kind of build the profile and the business for this. And now we're commercially selling beer since May 5th, and we're calling it, Tex-Mex beer, and that's our website, texmexbeer.com. But we are taking Mexican-style beer, much more full-flavored, and bringing it to both the craft market, but pulling over some of those people from the Miller, the Coors, the Bud market that traditionally maybe don't like a heavier style beer, a little more lighter lager flavor style beer, and taking some of those folks with us.
So let me give you an example, a quick example of what the Texas part of it is. Richardson Farms is a local grower around the Austin area. We get some corn from them, some yellow corn, some red corn, and we're using some of that in some of our premium lager recipes. So we're trying to use Texas-style ingredients, things that are grown locally here, prickly pears that we've picked out of the fields locally ourselves, and use those in the beers that we're serving to the local market. So putting a Texas swing on the Mexican-style lagers.
Yeah, but still using, I think, really good quality ingredients. So we use jalapenos from San Antonio. I was born and raised in San Antonio. I grew up in Houston. I've lived in Austin for 14 years. Native Texan. But, really that's the core concept here, is kind of play off of a good craft beer style, but market it with a slightly different, unique approach, and kind of bring along those type of people with us. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So I guess at this point, we're standing in your brew house here in Cedar Park, and this is the
This is it.
the 3-barrel, the pilot brew house. So tell me, where are we going from here? I'm with you now.
No, you're coming along. You're coming along. This is our pilot brewery. It's a 3-barrel brew house, and we're making beer here to get out on the market and prove this concept. We're actively raising funds right now to build the next brew house to go on to the next level, and we hope to pull the trigger by end of November this year, and hope to be spring or summer next year at our new location doing this at a much bigger style. So that's the idea.
So what would the new location look like? I guess conceptually.
Yeah, if we had our choice,
I'm not talking about the paint on the wall, but
No, here we're obviously we're pretty small. We'll definitely start with more of a 30-barrel type system. We'll be as big fermentation space as we can possibly go with the funds available. And I think at that point we can kind of appeal to the South Texas market. Definitely San Antonio and Austin are going to be kind of our core market. We're kind of, as a luxury of a small brewery, we can self-distribute. So we'll maintain that so we can maintain our relationships with those kind of brewery, retail locations. And then, check out Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, and then also some of the neighboring states where I think we can definitely make a play in. Again, it's just kind of a unique concept that I think we can bring a lot of new folks into the craft beer market. And as the craft beer industry kind of grows double digits as it has been, now is a perfect time, especially here in Austin. One of the cool things I think that we like to kind of shout out is just the rest of the brewing community here in Austin have been really, really great to us. From the folks at Real Ale, Tim.
It is a great beer town, Austin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We picked
Austin Beer Town.
We picked a good style, a good place to open up. But I really mean that because
Seriously.
Folks at Uncle Billy's, Brian, Amos, the folks at 512, Circle Brewing, Austin Beer Works. I mean, really, these guys have really, when there are different questions that pop up, and believe me, we've learned, the good and the bad and the hard way from building our own place from the ground up. But when there's some, critical questions here and there to pop around, there's some pretty good brewers in town. I mean, these guys have won medals, as you've seen this year. And being able to have the luxury of picking up the phone or walking in there and say, hey, here's a question that we have. And then with open arms, just saying, hey, here's, some ideas that they have.
Cheers to the Texas
yeah.
brewers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the Texas Craft Brewers Guild, I mean, those folks have kind of organized those type of events. But, I think, hopefully we'll earn our place here in Austin and especially in Texas. And the more we're brewing and the kind of more we expand, I think hopefully folks will gain some additional trust in us. And I just say look out next year because we're coming to the rest of Texas. So.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Great beer.
Yeah.
Great conversation.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Have a
Cheers.
good one.
Yeah. Cheers.